Let's break it down. The broken baker's coming to town. From Denmark with love, watching courts go wild. American drama got me hooked like a child. Twists in the courtroom, objections all day. Live on the screen, come and join the fray. Step one, grab your coffee, settle in tight. Step two, laugh at the chaos left and right. Step three, Danish take on the law so crazy. Step four, hit subscribe, don't be lazy. Oh yeah! He's the broken baker, breaking down cases, real truth shaker. Witty and fun from across the sea. The broken baker set my free. Hey, hey, broken baker, Danish style so smooth. Legal madness in the groove. Yeah, join the live today. The broken baker's here to slay. High profile trials, witnesses spin. Alibis cracking, let the fun begin. Outside of you with a humorous twist. True crime fans, you don't wanna miss. Even when it's broken, we find the fun. Danish baker baking truth for everyone. The broken baker, yeah. Hit that bell, let's go
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whoever you are, and what, if any, you might be, and welcome to another YouTube presentation centered around Aidan Kearney and his battle against the Massachusetts Commonwealth. If there was any justice, this would be a 5-minute meeting where the judge says, you have missed every deadline that has ever been in this trial. You haven't produced any reason to miss these deadlines. I dismiss all of these charges with prejudice. But we also know that that's not going to happen. But in a perfect world, that was what should happen, because I've been following this for close to 3 years now. Yes, Aidan has a potty mouth. So what? Sticks and stones may break your bones, but words only hurt if your friend's Canadian and look like a raccoon. None of what he said could in any reasonable way be interpreted as witness intimidation. Tell the truth. How is that intimidating a witness? If he had said, you better fucking tell the story I want you to tell, or else, that could be interpreted as intimidation. But just saying, tell the truth, how is that a threat? Exactly, Harmony. And that's how you should see it. This is the problem I have with all of the new ATBs who are out there. Aidan said cunt. Yeah. Okay. Does that make him guilty in witness intimidation? We don't care because we just don't like him. Well, then you were never free Karen Reed, because Karen Reed was fighting the exact same monster that Aidan is fighting. And if you can't see that, you were never in it to win it. Reby, I know I look like shit. I just got out of bed. I woke at 5 a.m. this morning, and I have been out of my bed for 2 hours. in total, and it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So, but I don't want to miss this. So I'll stick it as uh, as far as I can. But if I keel over, 112 is the emergency number in Denmark, and Marissa has my address. I had 2 slices with the leverpostei for lunch, and yes, I have my tumbler. I have magnesium and C vitamins in it. I drink a lot of electrolytes. I do drink some coffee as well. It's a diluent. Yeah, but I need something hot for this throat. So I am trying to do the best. And Noodles Mama told me to rub my feet in hot cream. So I've done that as well and put on socks. So I'm trying all the best I can, but I talked to my daughter and she's still feeling just as shitty. So it's gonna be a couple of days more, I think. So we're gonna do this, and then if you are following along in the nanny trial, go into the Discord. We had a really good time sitting in Discord chat yesterday. Well, I fell asleep a couple of times, but it sounded like the rest of them had fun. So go watch that because, oh my God, that idiot was an idiot. But first of all, let's do some paying of the bills. Casey Chrissy became a member. The worst thing is, I woke up this morning and I couldn't breathe through my nose, and that wasn't nice. But yeah. Bum, bum, bum. And there was another one who became a member. Where did that go? Tash BX celebrates 14 months of membership. Hope you feel better soon. So do I, because I'm really sick of this feeling like this. Yesterday, my head was just felt like it was going to explode. And talking about being French Canadian, you look and sound fine. You've been lying to these broads about being sick because you need a break from them. You can DM me the truth. I won't tell. I don't. I would never. And I don't call them broads. You need some TLC and some homemade soup. I just had soup yesterday, and that was good. But I thought I had some garlic bread in my freezer, and I didn't have any garlic bread. That was horrible because then I just craved garlic bread all day long. I like garlic bread. Uh, you need an antibiotic, maybe. No, if I went to my doctor with this, they would say, "Are you running a fever?" Yeah, just a little bit. Go home, Tylenol, sleep, fluids. I am in a socialized healthcare system. We don't just go to a doctor and say, "Hey, give me." We go and say, "Can I please have?" And they say, "No." How long till Turtle Boys court start? I'm going to put the text up so we don't have to have that question. It starts at 9:30 if they are on time. It's Massachusetts, so I'm expecting 10:45, 7 o'clock, because they are never on time. Garlic is an antibiotic. That's probably why I was craving it. Oh, yeah, garlic bread is amazing with soup. uh, uh, well, I still have my hair, so I'm not Tim Pool. Hey, Rail Boss from Hua Hin, Thailand, 77 Fahrenheit. That's a little too hot for my taste. 7:30 a.m. I'm in Wyoming. Well, it's 3 o'clock my place, so it'll be 3:30 my time. RAR Friday for Baker, clapping cheeks Friday for everyone else. Oh, rest and relaxation. Well, you can come clap my cheeks. Baker, do you know why people say that you harassed 200 women online? Probably because I say stupid stuff like that online. Yeah, that's why people think that about you. Uh, Side eye. We're honey buns, lefty lols. Get it right. Yeah, he can call him his French ladies over on his little channel. Do they sell Mucinex there? Thins out the burgers so you can breathe. No, I have some spray. I actually have some I got from Diva when I was in Tennessee and got the coof. But before we get all sidetracked, hey, Moody's, your body always crave what it needs. That's why my OBGYN told me when I was pregnant, get that garlic bread. Yeah, well, tonight I'm having some pasta. I want some pasta. And just to spend the time, because I've been having, this is a gift from Marissa, and that's doxing me. That's not doxing anyone. Hellfish Haven sent me a cash as well. So I'm gonna open that and see what cool. He sent me a water heater. See? Bud Light. Lefty, this is what you drink because you're not old enough to drink beer. Thank you. Oh, and a Hellfish Haven cap. I'm gonna have so many caps. Oh, that's cool. Another Boston Army cap. I was streaming with a temperature well over 102. I'm not impressed. Well, that's not a flex. And if you don't know who Hellfish is, he is very much into the lifeline for veterans. That's what he supports. He has a YouTube channel where he talks with and about veterans. And it's a good thing for us veterans to remember. We think we are tough. We think that we are cool guys who, because we used to dress up and carry a lot of firearms around. But it's absolutely okay to ask someone for help when you are feeling a little down, because it'll get you sometimes. And what is this? Oh, it's armbands. It's a lot of merch for veterans. Oh, this came in handy today. And look, Lefty, he even thought about you. I'm going to use those while I'm streaming. Oh. Again, he thought about you, Lefty. Bets for Warriors and self-deletion risk management. Again, if you're out there and you feel a little down, even if you are not a veteran, it's a-okay to ask for help. It's a lot of cool merch. Some cards. Some more merch. And some affirmations. I have a peaceful, tranquil, untroubled heart. This is where I choose to spend my time. I can bring guests, but any person, thought, or event that brings drama or chaos are not invited. This is the wrong channel to say that. Or event that brings drama or chaos is not invited. My heart is a special property, and I'm going to keep it that way so we can all enjoy it and keep my security deposit. Security deposit back. He has a lot of cool merch. I wish I had cool merch. More vets for. I'm gonna look at all this merch later. Thank you so much, Hellfish. There's a ton of it. Oh, and some Santa stickers that came undone. I'm gonna put it down here. Oh, and a hoodie T-shirt. I'm gonna be the coolest guy ever. Yay! I finally got myself a honey bun from Little Debbie. And some sushi cues. Thank you. I will be taste testing them, of course. And a camo beanie. I got this big head. It's not really. Some pins. I have a lot of things that I can send on to other people now. Oh, some what the fuck forms. I'm not sure I can show that on screen. Yeah, text, call, chat, body check. And New England's first craft brewery beer coaster. I'm pretty sure my big. No, they actually work. Some wets for warrior hands. Yes. A pizza Jesus. And another American flag. I have more American than Danish flags now. There's so many little knickknacks that I'll have to. Hellfish, thank you so much, but I'll have to go through all of this when I'm done because there's a ton of stuff in here. Thank you so very much. Oh, look, a little spaceman. And let's do this one for JFK. This is a sushi cue. That wasn't smart. Not a lot of flavor, kind of dry. No. Can I even taste it right now? Yeah, it tastes a little bit like chocolate. And my honey bun. I'm sorry, JFK, but I will have no problem controlling my Suzy Q or honey bun habit because it doesn't really taste like honey buns. But thank you so much for all of this merch. Now I'll have merch for years, and I can ship it back to Americans whenever I get, so they remember it's okay to have a bad day. And then another package from Marissa. It took 2 trips to get over here. Hey, T-Bone. And to those of you who came in a little bit later, I'm just doing some unboxing while we're waiting for Aidan's trial to begin. I do have. No, that's not what I want. I want this one. I do have the Zoom ready to go. So as soon as it happens, we'll go live. An International Sisterhood of Lot Lizards t-shirt. Should send this to T-Rex instead. We don't have a lot of lot lizards. Oh, it's for when I make fun of the foreskins. I'm not going to put it on right now because I'm sick and I don't want to put germs in. Jesus Christ, woman. Another wig, this one with some pearl necklaces. This is the first time a woman have given me a pearl necklace. And a mullet wig. I'm turning into Mo. Happy belated birthday. Good luck with the sound on this. Nope. Why did I pull the card away from my face? Because for fuck's sake. Because I have had a glitter bomb sent to me before. I can still hear it under my butt. It's really weird sitting here streaming and you can just hear in the background. and a little squishy. It's a burger. I like to squish things when I'm streaming. Keeps me away from smoking. Oh, look, Lefty. Another thing for you. Oh, it's makeup. This is probably really unhealthy. But thank you so much. Now I have to make fun of the foreskins. I'm not going to use it for that, Marissa, you dirty-minded. Oh, this was the weird thing that you Yanks have. Yeah, could double for something else. Wonder why I get this reputation online. Oh, these were perfect timing for my sickness. Oh, cool. Danny Trejo's hot honey. This was the one that got it sent back the first time because you're not allowed to ship hot honey across the border. And we can't get it in Denmark. And an Eagles hat. I know a lot of people are happy now. And a little fridge magnet. Talking about fridges. Aidan is in court today. He's a fridge repairman. Oh, another t-shirt hoodie. We don't have that really in Denmark. T-shirt hoodies. I'll have to learn how to use those because I'm not a big fan of having my arms covered up. Oh, how cool. A Grant doll. Doink the Clown. That's so cool. More pearl necklaces from a lady. I'm not sure how that works. Oh, and now I can finally measure. So that's 6 inches. Yeah. I can beat that. And a Starbucks Discovery Series. Oh. A little Pennsylvania mug. I bought some K-Cups from Starbucks. Oh my God, it's horrible coffee. I don't have enough room in here. seaweed snacks that I know she hates herself. So I can't wait to try those. Some jelly crimpets. Some baked pie chocolate lovers. Some coffee cake cupcakes. Sponge cakes with butterscotch icing. Some peanut butter. I'm not a big fan of peanut butter. Oh, another honey bun. I'll have to compare that to the other one. And some cream-filled crimpets. Oh my God, lady, I'm not that good. And some powdered mini donuts. Thank you so much, Marissa. I'll wait to taste test all of that because now I have to get through the other ones that I got from Hellfish. But it'll get legs to walk on, as we say in Denmark. Yeah, we can tell you, fat fuck. Don't say that. That's mean. But thank you both so very, very much. This lady is really enjoying this stream. Yes, my butt is still moaning. Do I have to microwave it? Maybe that'll make them, because they're very dry. Very, very dry. But thank you all so very, very much for the gifts. Thank you to all who sent me birthday gifts this year and made me eat on stream, even though I don't eat on stream. And I missed. Winosaur says, "Hi, mennesker. Been a member for 17 months. Mspire sent them. You might want to see a doctor about your butt moaning. Mspire, I will bring it up if my butt is still moaning after 4 hours. I will seek medical." And Peace Geek says, "You made my day when you opened that card." This is going to go on forever. You know that, right? Must be one of those cards where you record a personalized message. It does say it's just a card and happy birthday from chat. I don't know if any of you ladies in chat have to put it underwater. I'll just put it outside and let my neighbors enjoy it. It's still, I think it's still monetized. It's just organic noises. Well, the trash man was here Wednesday, so it's going to be 2 weeks till he comes back. So, yeah, I could do that. But there was like a little plastic thingy. I thought if I just rip that out, it'll stop. No, it wouldn't. But back to what we are here for today. Aidan is having another hearing. Aidan still haven't had, as far as I know, any response from Cosgrove on the motion to dismiss. Shut up. Someone in court. J7 says, "We just said hi to Aidan at security, and Mr. Betterow is going through now." I know Will is at court as well. So so people are there and supporting him. I've seen Erica Walsh as well. I've seen Will. I've seen Tom is going down there. There was like 10, 15 people at least in the videos I saw. So he's not going to go there alone today. So let's just hope in a fair world, this would be dismissed with prejudice because they have done nothing to try and keep any schedules. They and every time Aidan gets some new. Oh, when does Linda represent him in New Jersey? But thank you, Jojo, for becoming a member. But Aidan has been going through this for what now? 2 years, where nothing happens. Every time they go to trial or go to court, there's a new problem. Cossie is too old. Their witnesses have effed up everything. Their witnesses have sued them. It's turning into a parody of how a trial should be running. I know that they don't like Aidan, but still. Yeah, why would Cosgrove show up? Doesn't matter. He's not there anyway. And when he comes, he's just blah. Who did you tell to shut up? Is someone else in there? Is that really the card making noise after all? I told my Google to shut up. How do I get my address? You reach out to me in DMs or on the emails. Real Cossie and fake Cossie. Yeah, I know Cossie was talking about he was going there, but I also heard that it was like -1 degree. So I hope everyone dressed really warm. And I was watching Erica Walsh in the bathroom trying to heat up her hands because it was so cold outside. The court is just waiting for the bailiff to bring in the official Commonwealth of Massachusetts so it can be kicked down the road when court start. Yeah, I'm afraid it's going to be the same again. No, I didn't see them, but we know they are there because no one else has done more for Aidan's freedom. And thank you so much, Selfish. That Diana, damn it. Good to see you up and around. Well, let's just be honest, I'm not a spry chicken right now. I can't wait till this is done and I can just go and sit under a hot blanket again. I don't think Cosgrove will be there. They haven't filed that he has recused himself. They haven't filed that he's been removed. They haven't even answered in the motion to recuse himself. They were never heard on the mega motion. Either this is going to be 5 minutes like it's always. Well, Your Honor, Mr. Mello has the internet. I was, kind of confused. So I need 24 more days. Can I get 24 more days? And then the judge is going to say, oh, yeah, sure you can. And nothing's going to happen again. -20 with Will chill this morning. I hope everyone is safe. Such a tragedy. Yes, this is a travesty of the justice system. How many hearings have we watched with Aidan and Krusty Pants where nothing happens? Even if you don't ask for a speedy trial, at what point in Denmark we have this? I say we, I'm not a part of the court system. I'm just a layman in the court system. Can I help you, Thomas in court? How do I share on his stream? Share me. If you have it up on your screen, down in the bottom there is a share screen if you have access to it in StreamYards. Just hit that, then you click the one that says whatever you want to share, and that should be shared on the screen. It's in the bottom of StreamYard, but I don't know if you have moderator access to his StreamYard. But in the bottom, there's a share button, and then you just click what you want to share, but you have to have it open in a different tab than the one that you are watching on. Thank you, Skybell, for one gifted membership that went to JB Guthrie, and Christina 0679 sent 5 memberships to Betty Swallow. Oh my. Dion Weldon, Costas Crazy Horse, Ambular, something nefarious Debbie Joe. Sorry, I have to blow my nose. I look like a coke addict. How do you know? I don't know. I never done coke a day in my life. Well, maybe that will help. I don't think so because I couldn't sniff it up through all this snot. Is that water? No, it's not. That's an old joke. Yeah, but M-Spy is here and she probably hadn't heard it. Is it okay to share your live? Noodles Mama, as long as you just put my link in the bottom or say thank you or something, you do you, girl. It's absolutely fine. You know, over here we are sharing and caring. With email and internet court cases should go fast and not slower. They don't have to wait on the Pony Express anymore. Oh yeah, that's the rant I was starting in on. Justice TV, are they the pool? There's no pool camera. So if they have a feed up, it should be then it's their cameras. My butt is really enjoying this stream. Can I find that one? I have the Zoom link, so I don't know. I don't see them on the. Oh, they don't have Wi-Fi in the courtroom, so Justice Served probably can't do it. Okay, well, we have the Zoom link, so we'll just run the Zoom link, no breaks, so you don't have to listen to me talking about it. Hey, Daisy P. So yeah, we're gonna do it. Hey, Noodles, anytime, let me know and I'll try and guide you. I don't know why she's talking to me all the time. She never talks to me, that angry woman. I was going to tell a joke about a cold, but it's not very catchy. This cold is very catchy. I can tell you that. I went to the gym 2 days ago and thought, oh, I'm feeling better. Came home and I just crashed. It's so bad. I get the shivers if I open up the fridge now. So I don't know what the hell got into me, but I'm blaming my grandson. No, the card doesn't vibrate, so it won't be good for Coco. Boston 5 is in there. They just let them in the courtroom. Boston 5. I just did a Google before, or a search before we went live, and no, Boston 5 doesn't have anything live either. So yeah. This is really inappropriate, Marissa. Channel 5 and Boston 10 has a pool camera, I heard. Well, Channel 5 hasn't got a stream up and running. Maybe I'll be up later. And Boston 10, they don't have anything live either that I can find. Hey, Jody. I hope so too. I'm going to be on FNL tonight. Most likely not. I don't feel well. Marissa, I hate this card. Yeah, but he's not live. I can't see him live, so I'm not sure that. And if it's true that there's no Wi-Fi, then he can't stream. No, he has a stream that was supposed to have gone live 44 minutes ago. So he most likely don't have Wi-Fi. Do I click on share screen? Yes. Share screen down in the button and just share it. Oh. I'm just gonna put it on with, make sure that I have the audio on. Share with audio, share. And when I do this, it means, could you please tell me if there is audio on? But Aidan, Betterow, and Bradle is on screen right now. And yes, they're 15 minutes late, but this is Massachusetts, so anything under an hour late is not late. Bradle isn't a tall guy. Is that Cossey's jacket? I think that's the court reporter. Yeah, Bradle is lead on this case. Hey, Opal Gypsy. We just started, so we just got a feed through from the court, and the judge isn't in the room yet. No, I don't want that. Where did the other one go? I want this one. But there's no audience in court.
They say, my coaches say I have really good.
Did you hear that? Something about a coach saying something? Yeah, it's Betterow's motion, so he will be arguing that if we ever get to argue the motion. Yes, we hear it. Good. Then I don't have to be afraid. Is it true Turtle Boy has a tailor in Panama that makes his suit to conceal the half shell? Yes, heroes in a half shell. Turtle power. Oh. Have to head into work, so I'll catch up on the replay too. Alfie, we're going to see you later. And have a great day at work and enjoy your Friday. No, my podcast didn't talk about having a great coach. Oh, I feel like hell, but I didn't want to miss this one. I'm going to sit out the closing arguments in the nanny trial, so you'll have to do that. In the Discord, we are sitting and discussing during the trial. Has Cossey G turned up? Do we know? I haven't seen anyone so far from the prosecution. and I haven't had any. Yeah, one of the smaller courtrooms. It's not the biggest. It looks like it has 2 rows of audience back here. But why haven't people been allowed in? Oh, they're doing Better Row dirty with that tall podium. Oh, now they're allowed in. There's Will. There's a lot of people we know from Boots on the Ground. It must be nice to get the support. Erica said the real Cossie is there. Okay, I haven't heard about that. Yeah, there's no sound on yet. It's my pleasure, spicy Italian mama. Prego, prego. Oh, I can change the text because we're. They'll probably turn on. They'll turn on the audio when the judge gets in there. That's amazing how many people are in there. Apparently, Will was wearing a T-shirt that wasn't allowed, so he had to cover it up while in court. That's stupid for a hearing. It's not like any witnesses is going to be intimidated by a T-shirt today. Oh yeah, there's a new judge on today. I can't remember the name of the judge. I'm pretty sure that they didn't expect so many people to show up. This is just a pre-trial hearing. Oh, there's lawyers, not law girls, not lawyers. And there's Justice Serve TV. That's why he doesn't have a feed up. He hasn't even come into the courtroom yet. I'm just not that I need to know if, but I'm just wondering if Aidan's new girlfriend is there, how much trouble that's going to make later on the Twats. It's courtroom dress code. Some courts have it. It's one of those. Again, it's a pretrial hearing. There's nothing there. Holy Mac. For toughing it out for us on a day you aren't feeling well, you are appreciated, sir. Holy Mac, you are appreciated, ma'am. Oh, it's Tom. That's Mr. Cussy G. Cussy G, the real G. According to Erica Walsh, it really didn't say anything specific. If there's no Wi-Fi in the courtroom, how are they zooming? In the developed world, we have this thing called ether cables where you just plug into a router and then you run it into your PC and it gives you internet. A lot of people use it. So maybe they have that going for them. No, I don't know. Maybe there is Wi-Fi in there. I don't know. And the reason they weren't able to go live was because they weren't let into the courtroom yet. Yeah, he was streaming just before we went live. But it's nice to see a full courtroom because to be honest, and I think we all know this, the last five months haven't been easy on Aidan. First of all, You have all the ATBs, the anti-turtle boy crew, going out there trying to put all this dirt on him in some weird up. I don't know what they want to do to, but it seems like they just want him to go to prison. Oh, and then you all know someone else has made a lot of trouble for him. So I'm glad that there's a big support today to show that Aidan still have the full support of a lot of people. He was wearing a Clint Eastwood t-shirt. Yeah, that makes no sense.
Madam Clerk, are we ready?
We are.
Court, all rise, please. Honorable court's in session, please be seated.
Good morning, Your Honor. Before the court is the matter of Commonwealth versus Aidan Kearney on Norfolk dockets 2382 CR 00313 and 2582 CR 0088. Mr. Kearney is present. Counsel, please identify themselves for the record, beginning with the Commonwealth.
Good morning, Your Honor. I'm Robert Cosgrove.
Good morning, Attorney Cosgrove.
Good morning, Your Honor. Timothy Bradel on behalf of Aidan Kearney.
Good morning, Mr. Cosgrove. Mr. Bradel.
For Mr. Kearney, Mark Betterow. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Mr. Betterow. Okay, just to be clear, we've accommodated as many people as we can in the audience. I understand there are some folks outside. The court has opened the matter to Zoom primarily because of the weather and the parking conditions. I'm not going to say that we're going to have it on Zoom every single time, but to those who can't be in the courtroom right now, we are broadcasting by Zoom. I further note the court was prepared to come out at 9, but the delay was due to the late arrival of some of the counsel. So with that, I would remind all parties who are attending by Zoom that any rebroadcast, if you are not qualified under SJC Rule 1.1119, rebroadcast is prohibited. Those who are qualified and have registered are certainly free to rebroadcast as appropriate. So with that, my intention today is to cover papers 110, 117 in part, 125, and 127. Those are the matters which deal with the request for the recusal or removal of Mr. Cosgrove as counsel for the Commonwealth. Now, before we begin that, particularly Mr. Betterow, just to you, and I know Judge Dillon may have talked to you about this a little bit. Going forward, we don't file affidavits as motions. Rule 13 requires a motion to be a motion. It can be supported by a memorandum of law, it can be supported by an affidavit. The matter we're here for today, there is in fact no motion on file. I'll take it as it sits because it's been responded to. But going forward, if you want to file a motion, it has to be a motion. It has to be clearly captioned as to what you're looking for. Further, it has to deal with one subject at a time. I'm not going to do motions that deal with the entire kitchen sink. It's going to be one motion at a time. It's going to be clearly noted. If you want to put a memorandum of law, again, you have to reference the motion you're dealing with. Further, if you want to put an affidavit, the affidavit has to reference the motion that you've filed. If you want to put in a supplemental motion or a supplemental memorandum, it has to list the paper number that you're talking about. Going through this over the last several days and trying to figure out what I'm dealing with took an amount of time which is kind of absurd because I'm trying to trace back what you're talking about and I can't find the motion because it doesn't exist. So I understand you're not local to Massachusetts. Mr. Bradel is extremely experienced and quite good at drafting these things. So
Because I was going to say, that's my fault. I'm local counsel. I should have made sure that that was that way, and we'll make sure that going forward.
And I note that paper number 127 is more in the form that we used to in this court. So I just want to remind everybody where we're at. And again, not familiar with the area, that's okay. Just going forward, I don't want to have to sort of parse through what we're dealing with, nor do I want to have to hear from Mr. Cosgrove saying there's no motion filed, because it's a pretty good point on his part. So with that, let's take up the matters that are before the court. You're the moving party. I don't know who wants to argue, Mr. Bradel or Mr. Betterow.
Mr. Betterow, Your Honor.
We'll hear from you.
Thank you.
Understand, I've looked at all your motions as well as all of the exhibits.
May I, Your Honor?
You may.
Counsel states that a recent conflict of interest has developed, which ethically precludes him from continuing to prosecute matters in which Lindsay Gaetani is an alleged victim or party. Those are the words of Mr. Cosgrove on September 24th, 2025, regarding his request to be removed from another indictment in which Lindsay Gaetani was a witness, and we'll get to in this argument why she may very well be a witness in this case.
Witness is different from victim, correct?
I'm sorry?
Witness is different from victim, right?
Of course. But as we'll get to, Your Honor, if a prosecutor or anyone has a personal interest that may differ from Commonwealth's or to a defendant's right to a fair trial, that's something that has to be factored in. The point of that comment, Your Honor, is that Mr. Cosgrove acknowledged that there was a conflict arising out of Ms. Gaetani's claims against him. She has accused him of unprofessional and unethical conduct and has sued him. He draws the line.
I note that the last docket entry in that case was in the process of being settled. That's paper number 15 on that case. That was filed just last week.
Judge, whether the civil case continues or not isn't even necessarily the issue.
Explain why that would not be a problem.
Because she has accused him, a lawyer, a former judge, of unethical behavior, and he has a personal interest, understandably so, in defending himself against that. And in any matter in which her credibility becomes an issue as she testifies in a trial, he has an interest in discrediting her, which may be very different from the Commonwealth's interest, which I'll get into as to why that may be. But the point is, calling her an alleged victim and that there is a conflict because of her allegations against me, merely being a witness in a case in which she may testify, as the difference which somehow makes his personal interest, acting both as a criminal prosecutor while serving as a civil defendant and potentially cross-examining your civil accuser and your lead detective, is a civil co-defendant who has also been accused of misconduct, undermines the public confidence in the proceedings and demonstrates that a prosecutor could have a personal interest. The bottom line, Your Honor, the difference between witness and alleged victim is a distinction without a difference if the prosecutor has a personal interest which could significantly impact his representation of a party in the case. That's the Rule 1.7 issue. Now, Mr. Cosgrove has replied that, well, we're not going to call Ms. Gaetani as a witness, and that certainly is right for the time being anyway, as the prosecutor for the Commonwealth. But the defense may very well call her. Her credibility will be an issue, obviously, if she testifies in this case. At that point, having a prosecutor who's been accused of misconduct, who is named as a civil defendant, attacking her credibility and attempting to defend the credibility of other witnesses whose credibility could be impeached by Ms. Gaetani is a problem. It's a problem because the jury would have a right to know what the prosecutor's interest may be. It's not...
Well, he chose not to cross-examine her.
That's a decision that has to be made by a disinterested prosecutor.
What if you got someone else to cross-examine her?
That may or may not solve the problem. Certainly it would with the direct examination of her.
But he's not going to call her. He's made that clear.
I understand that. What I'm suggesting to the court is we may very well do that.
You may, and you'd have to get permission from the court to do that because you'd have to show me that it's relevant, but that's another issue down the road.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, respectfully, why it may be relevant beyond just the substance of her testimony. Mr. Cosgrove addressed the substance of her testimony as it relates to the allegations against Mr. Kearney. She also may very well be a witness who can expose bias of other important prosecution witnesses, who could expose conduct on behalf of some of those important prosecution witnesses, conduct which is not at all consistent.
Well, let's get to the nub of it, all right? Because I've read all your materials, so you don't need to repeat the argument to me. Look, as I understand the issue here, Ms. Gaetani, that's the correct pronunciation, is it not? Ms. Gaetani has an interaction with Special Prosecutor Mello in December, I think the 24th, was it, or the 23rd?
Something like that.
Of 2023.
Mhm.
It's around that time that she's alleged to have some interaction with Ms. McCabe. Is that correct?
Amongst
Miss
other
Mc-
times, yes.
Well, around that time is my understanding, based on the evidence you presented me. Around that time, Ms. McCabe urges her to go to the grand jury. Do the right thing, go to the grand jury, something along those lines. All right, is that correct?
In substance, but I think it's interpretational, and the witness
Well-
might expand upon that.
I understand that. All of those events occurred 6 months after the events that are in play here. So the relevance of those events is only as to the credibility, potentially, of Ms. McCabe. Now, you might be able to get into that. You might be able to even confront Ms. McCabe. But then you're going to have to raise an issue of whether or not you get into a trial within a trial, so to speak, the extrinsic evidence rule, which takes us to whether or not she is even going to be a witness to talk about potential bias after the fact. This is after the fact bias.
Yeah.
On an issue which, frankly, I'm struggling with a little bit, because nobody contests the acts here, all right? Mr. Kearney is a citizen journalist, sort of a new breed of journalist, correct? He presents to this court that all of his activities are fully protected under the First Amendment. Very reasonable argument, okay? Mr. Cosgrove says different. He says this is witness intimidation. The motivation of Ms. McCabe to his acts is tangential by and large, is it not?
Judge,
Now, she's going to testify, yes, I was intimidated. But the main factor here is the nature of the comment, which is recorded, made voluntarily and recorded. Now, you are correct. There's an excellent argument to be made, perhaps, that Gaetani and Genduso and McCabe may have all had some idea that they were going to get together and get his bail revoked. But that's not what this trial's about. This trial's about what happened 6 months before. So you got to draw me to the relevance of that.
Well, her bias and motive against him, whether before, during, or after, I would suggest is certainly relevant. Moreover, it's
all after. There's no before.
Judge, you mentioned a moment ago about the fact that she's going to come in and say, I felt intimidated or I was emotionally harmed. I think we would all agree that would be relevant about what the impact that these horrible allegations had on her. There will be evidence through electronic communications between Gaetani and McCabe, which Gaetani may very well have to authenticate as a witness, because frankly, we don't assume or take any guess what Ms. McCabe will say, where shortly after Mr. Kearney was released from jail, from what Your Honor just spoke about, where Ms. McCabe recruited Ms. Gaetani and orchestrated surveilling him from various police stations and to other locations, joking about going on a stakeout. In other words, conduct not consistent with her being intimidated. Those actions will also
the intimidation doesn't have to last forever. The intimidation, we're only trying one slice in time. That's the bedrock of any criminal defendant, right?
But
not trying his entire life, we're trying that moment.
But these are questions that have to be posed to Ms. McCabe, and she'll have and should be forced to answer them and explain them.
I don't necessarily disagree with that.
Okay, so the point is, we don't know what Ms. McCabe will say. We know, based upon messages that we've seen, which would need to be authenticated, presumably what Ms. Gaetani will say about these issues.
Which seems to move with time from poll to poll, correct?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, it seems like her allegiances have changed as this case has developed.
She is, without question, a unique witness, which raises another interesting point, which could lead to the possible conflict with Mr. Cosgrove. She is a former prosecution witness. There's no question. She testified in grand jury. She testified at a trial called and vouched for by Mr. Cosgrove.
Quite enthusiastically, as I understand.
I believe so, Judge. No question. And at that point, they had no problem with Ms. Gaetani. But at this point, she's now sued Mr. Cosgrove. She has sued Tully. She has threatened to sue or sent a demand letter to the DA's office. And when that happened, Mr. Cosgrove said, I have a conflict with her because he has a personal interest in seeing her discredited. And I'm going back to what I first started with, Your Honor. The issue is not because she's an alleged victim. She's a potential witness in this case, and the prosecutor has a personal interest in seeing her discredited. And the critical part comes in the argument to the jury at the end of the trial. When McCabe has testified, it's in Mr. Cosgrove's personal interest that she be credited, Gaetani not be credited. When Tully testifies, it's the same exercise. He's a co-defendant of his.
What's Tully going to testify to?
Is Tully going to testify? We're not calling Tully.
Mr. Cosgrove, what's Tully going to testify to? Is he even a witness?
I haven't made a determination as to whether I'm going to call Lieutenant Tully or whether I'll need to call Lieutenant Tully. It seems to me that the videos, which Mr. Kearney has himself made public, documenting his statements and actions, are pretty much self-authenticating. I'm not sure.
Well, I think you may have to make a choice here fairly quick if we're going to deal with this issue. But continue.
Look, the bottom line is Detective Lieutenant Tully is the lead investigator on this matter. Now, that doesn't obligate the Commonwealth to call him, but he is the driving force behind this. He built the investigation. He got the search warrant.
This is not your classic whodunit.
No.
This is not the investigation where they find evidence on a scene, they develop the evidence on the scene, they trace the suspects, they get phone downloads, they do this, that, the other. This is a very unique set of facts.
Very. Where
the defendant recorded himself and then voluntarily broadcast his actions to the world at large. So the investigation essentially is press record. And then a jury of his peers, all right, would judge the mores of our society to determine whether or not this is acceptable First Amendment or not acceptable First Amendment.
The point I'm making, Your Honor, is that Tully...
And I would like the jury of peers to make that decision. I don't want to make it. I want the jury of his peers to make that decision.
The point I'm making, Your Honor, is on this issue is that Tully is the lead investigator. And certainly I can only speak from my own experience, perhaps others, that it would be extraordinarily rare not to call.
I don't find that to be accurate in my experience. I've seen it happen a number of times, much to my disappointment when I sat over there, okay?
I've seen it happen, and I've taken that from the other side of the table in prosecuting rather than defending, in letting juries know who built the case, what is going on here. But the point...
And fairly pointed out by the defense, and you didn't hear from him.
It could be. It may very well be, but that could also lead to the reason why. Okay, the issues surrounding Gaetani's claims, the defense wants to argue they're not calling Tully. Perhaps the jury may be entitled, not asking Your Honor to make evidentiary rulings now, obviously, but the jury may want to know and be entitled to know why isn't the prosecutor calling him, and might it have something to do with what Gaetani alleges. But moving away from Tully to the larger point, it's not even so much the cross-examinations, or other evidence, which I would suggest are improper being conducted by a prosecutor with a personal interest in favoring certain witnesses over the one that is suing him. It's the summations, it's the argument. If Mr. Cosgrove has an opportunity to cross-examine Ms. Gaetani, assuming he does, as Your Honor noted, maybe he won't, but I would suggest, again, that's a decision to be made by a disinterested prosecutor, not one with a personal interest.
Well, let's define the personal interest. It is, anybody can bring a lawsuit against anybody, all right? You know, the actions that are alleged here by Mr. Cosgrove, and most of them appear, frankly, seem to have occurred prior to his arrival in the case. But the actions are alleged were done solely in his role as a special prosecutor. You know, his immunity is almost impenetrable, correct?
In a legal sense.
Sir, this is a legal setting.
No, Your Honor, my point is this. Personal interests don't rise and fall. They're not black and white because you've been sued or not sued. She has publicly and loudly accused a distinguished prosecutor of misconduct that he himself recognized after the lawsuit was filed. This lawsuit that we're saying has no merit, what did he do? He sought removal because I'm ethically precluded from cross-examining her. It's the same issue.
Well, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure that's what he said, but I'll take that for what it is.
Well, Judge, I just want the record to be clear. What he said was, counsel states that a recent conflict of interest has developed which ethically precludes him from continuing to prosecute matters when Gaetani is an alleged victim or party, and we talked about whether we use alleged victim or witness as the issue. The point is...
Well, that's why I said that's not exactly what he said. What he said was...
Yes. No, I'm not trying to substitute that. We're trying to, in my view, suggest it's a distinction without a difference, because he has been attacked. And when he withdrew from the other case, the lawsuit against him was no better or no worse than it is now. So he didn't make that argument back then to say, this is some garbage lawsuit, I have no real conflict. What he said was, I am ethically precluded.
All right, I take your point. Mr. Cosgrove, if you're ethically precluded from one, why aren't you ethically precluded from two? I'll come back to this issue of the 2025 investigation too.
I reserve my answer on that.
Reserve it for when?
When it's my turn to speak.
I was about to give you your turn to speak, but I'll go back to Mr. Betterow. Let's talk about the 2025 investigation.
Your Honor, can I make one point I didn't get to? We kind of got. It's the summations where the real problem arises here. Because if Gaetani were cross-examined by Mr. Cosgrove, in essence, it is almost a free deposition. It is sworn testimony of her by a litigant against another litigant in a civil matter in which he has the full power of the government cross-examining, which will benefit his personal interest. Then you go to summation. Presumably, his argument will be Gaetani is not believable, Gaetani is not credible, but McCabe is. Now, those are appropriate arguments by most people to make, not him, because it is in his personal interest, not just as a representative of the Commonwealth. It is in his personal interest that she be discredited. And the jury should know that. Now, I'm not saying that's an appropriate outcome either. The appropriate outcome is that he be removed, because if he's vouching for the credibility, not in an illegal sense, but advocating for the jury to adopt Jen McCabe and discredit Lindsay Gaetani, the jury should not be ignorant to the fact that this guy's getting sued and wants her to be discredited. That is not the kind of thing that the public can have confidence in when they find out that the prosecutor who is judging everyone's credibility is discrediting her, crediting another, and it's tantamount to him giving unsworn testimony.
This goes back to the issue of relevance that we talked about before, and this is where I'm a little bit hung up. What McCabe does 6, 8, 10 months after the allegations here, because the allegations with regard to McCabe, as I can tell, they occur on 6/6, 9/20, and 7/22. Those are the 3 dates where she's alleged to have been intimidated. So none of these matters involving Gaetani develop until perhaps December, right?
Some of her testimony, though, Judge, will corroborate other evidence we have of Jen McCabe's pattern of surveilling Mr. Kearney before he was indicted.
But when?
In 2023, July of 2023. We have documented evidence of her, the intimidated and emotionally harmed witness, contacting Mr. Kearney on social media and alluding to the fact, I know where you are, which is exactly what we're talking about with Gaetani.
That's a fair point to cross-examine her on, no doubt.
Don't know what she's going to say. From our perspective, having seen some of her other testimony and other proceedings, we don't just assume that she's going to be forthright. And we have a right. She's the star witness of this case.
I may need to know a little bit more about that. In terms of, if you want to file something and pound it to me, that's fine.
The final point I'll make, to Your Honor, before you have any other questions, is it's important that we're raising this now. This is well before trial. The prosecution is clearly on notice. I don't know where this may lead to, what else could be discovered. You know, this is a unique case, as you've noted, and evidence is discovered in all kinds of odd ways, believe me, with how these cases proceed and who shares what and those kinds of things. It's critical for us to make this record now, alert the court respectfully.
I have no issue with you making a record.
Because if it comes up later after a jury is impaneled, there is a risk of a mistrial, and that will not be our fault. And we think at that point,
listen, Mr. Bitter, I have no issue with you bringing the motion. You're supposed to. You need to advocate for your client in any way you think is appropriate. I'm just trying to flesh it out here, so I understand exactly what the issues are. I'm struggling with the relevance issues. You may have to give me more information on that, so I understand it a little bit better, because the way I read things, they're much later in time. Now, if you've got something that's more contemporaneous to the alleged intimidation, I think that's very, very relevant. And we'd have to sort of play out how that would come in and what the form of that evidence. So we'll come back to that at some point when you're ready to talk to me about that. But talk to me about this. Your motion had three parts. Your affidavit had three parts, and one was the 2024. That's moot because it's already been done. The second was this issue. The third was this idea that I could preclude the executive branch from investigating things in 2025. Can you give me some authority which says I have the ability to do that?
It's a unique situation, Your Honor. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that there is a case law roadmap to what's happening, but what's important to recognize here, you've been asking us these questions about how is Gaetani relevant. She is extraordinarily relevant to what we're calling the 2025 investigation, which results in the search warrants for the phones of Karen Reed.
Which is still pending with Judge Krupp.
Right.
Let me play that out two ways. What if Judge Krupp says he can have access to the phones? Then we're going to have a much longer issue, correct? Is that going to come into this case?
Well, they're telling us that two people are under investigation. I mean, it's hard for us to know, right? I mean, they're attempting allegedly to indict Mr. Kearney and Karen Reed for actions in which they already tried to indict and a grand jury said no. And now 2 years later, with phones that have been gathering dust, we need to look in these phones and, God knows what we'll find. But the point is, the search warrants in that case are critical and certainly could relate to evidence used against Mr. Kearney. There are two informants in that search warrant. One of them is Lindsay Gaetani. And the affiant of that warrant is Detective Tully. And there are about 10 paragraphs, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't know the exact number.
I read the warrants.
Relying on her, and it is loaded with information which she provided them. And we're back to the personal interest of Mr. Cosgrove. So that really was meant to just inform the court that this is a living, breathing issue.
I will agree with you. It's a living, breathing issue. It's just not a living, breathing issue over which I have authority.
Fair enough.
When that comes to me, if it comes to me, I don't know if my special assignment encompasses that. We'll see. But if it comes to me, then we'll deal with that issue. I can find nothing which gives me the authority to restrict that activity. Judge Krupp has the authority on the search warrants, and he'll make a decision in due time. But I find nothing which gives me the authority to restrict prospectively an investigation that's being done by the executive branch.
Judge, just before I sit down, and unless the court has any other questions, I just want to correct one last thing. Your Honor had mentioned about a lawsuit being settled. That is not the lawsuit involving Mr. Cosgrove. There's no...
Sure it is. I looked at the docket this morning.
Not with him. That's with other parties to the litigation, is my understanding.
Okay. Well, let me play this out for you. It's, as I said, I have some familiarity with this immunity issue since I routinely see these motions. It's a very strong motion to dismiss. If that motion is filed and heard, again, an accusation is one thing, but it would seem like there's a little bit more, you'd have to have some substance to it to actually disqualify him, but I'll keep an open mind on it. Anything more?
Anything else?
No, I read all your stuff.
Thank you.
Anything more?
No, sir.
Mr. Bradley, anything?
No, Judge, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Kearney, Mr. Cosgrove, if not, if you're conflicted out in one case, why aren't you conflicted out on the other? That's the real big question here.
Well, I don't think the two necessarily follow, Your Honor. Obviously, before I filed my motion seeking to withdraw in the other case, I would have been a poor attorney indeed if I didn't think about whether it also required me to withdraw in this case. And the motion to withdraw was, at least I attempted to phrase it quite carefully, to say that I had a conflict because Ms. Kearney was the alleged victim in that case. Not that she was a witness in that case, but that she was the alleged victim. And as we all know, Your Honor, the Commonwealth does not represent the victim. The Commonwealth represents the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. But nevertheless, it was essentially an argument that I would be making in that case, that Mr. Kearney committed crimes against Ms. Kearney. That, it seemed to me, put me in the impossible position of raising the suggestion that I was going forward to vindicate Ms. Kearney's interests, perhaps to mollify her or to persuade her to withdraw the action against me. That's not the case where she is simply a witness.
Well, what do you say to the idea that you'd want to discredit her for your own benefit if it came to trial?
Well, that's a very interesting point, Your Honor. And there's a couple of problems with it. One problem is the practical matter. I don't see how any way that I went about discrediting her testimony in this trial would spill over to the other litigation, because it doesn't seem to me that it would be in any way relevant to the other litigation. I suppose I could adopt the defense theory that everything is relevant to every issue, but I don't see how indicating that Ms. Kearney was not credible in making statements about the investigation of Mr. Kearney here would have any relevance to an accusation that I breached some sort of duty to her by turning over a police report, which is the contention. Also, Your Honor, assuming that this even survives a motion to dismiss, and I'm talking now about the Middlesex case, I don't think there's any factual dispute.
Worcester case, there's nothing in Middlesex, right?
I'm sorry, Worcester, yes,
Okay,
thank you,
all right.
I appreciate the correction. I don't think there's any factual dispute as to what happened. In my capacity as a prosecutor, I provided Mr. Bradel with the police report in question as discovery. It made its way by whatever means from Mr. Bradel to Mr. Kearney, who then publicized details of it and turned it over to a friend, an associate, whatever you want to call him, who actually put the whole report, as I understand it, on the internet and began pillaring Ms. Kearney over her credibility. I don't dispute that I turned that report over as a matter of discovery. If this case ever develops in Middlesex and comes to fruition, I couldn't possibly dispute that. That's the absolute factual truth. From that point on, it becomes a pure question of law as to whether I breached some sort of duty under the statute to Ms. Kearney under the mistaken belief that I had a Rule 14 obligation to turn this over as the statement of a witness who had testified against Mr. Kearney in another matter, and as bearing on her credibility and her possible bias. Maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I was wrong legally. But that's not a matter of discrediting her. That's a matter that is purely a question of law. And it's also not a matter.
How do we avoid the circumstance that she's called to the stand and there's some relevant testimony that she can offer? You wouldn't call her, but the defense calls her. And you're in the midst of cross-examining her and she says, well, this is why I sued you. What do we do with that?
I'm not sure what you do with it, Your Honor. Maybe we deal with that with the motion in limine to preclude her from mentioning the Middlesex suit.
Doesn't sound like a terribly controllable witness.
No. That's why we have skillful Superior Court judges, Your Honor, if I could
If you can find one, that's
be a little obviously self-serving in my comment. I'm sure Your Honor, both in his prior career, as I have in mine, and in your present position, has dealt with witnesses that are difficult to control.
What about the possibility of someone else coming in? Is that something that's realistic or not realistic?
I didn't quite hear you. Something else?
What about the possibility of bringing someone in to deal with Ms. Gaetano if indeed she's a witness?
Could be done.
Well, it would solve a lot of issues. Mr. Bedrow? I mean, you're not contending that the case goes away completely. You're contending that he can't deal with Gaetano.
Unless, Your Honor, I understand what Your Honor is saying, and it sounds at first blush that the idea that if there's some kind of ethical screen, for lack of a better term, that just keeps a separate wall between Mr. Cosgrove and Ms. Gaetani. But if the issue of the lawsuit comes out in any way, whether it goes...
Well, if he's not the one asking the question, I'd be hard-pressed to figure out why the issue of the lawsuit would come out.
Could. Again, I don't know.
But that is my job to control what comes out. But so
Yes.
Legally, let's think about it not from a witness point of view, but from a legal point of view. If Mr. Cosgrove is not the one examining the witness, I preclude that evidence because it's really not very relevant. I think we all agree.
Your Honor, I mean, look, it's certainly not for me to suggest what could happen. It's for the court to rule and the prosecutors to figure it out. I guess the first question is, why are we having this conversation, and why haven't they done that? Why is this a one-man show when this is a serious issue that there could be peril?
Well, that's why we're having this conversation.
Right.
Ahead of time, as you properly noted.
The other thing, if I could just respond briefly, I don't know if Mr. Cosgrove...
I think he's not done yet. I just was raising that one point.
I'll hold it.
Cosgrove has barely started, but go ahead.
All right. So it would appear to me what you're saying to me is, if there was a replacement for that issue, that would resolve this problem.
I don't know that it would. It's certainly a much more realistic situation where you could avoid, no question, having Mr. Cosgrove comment on the credibility of Ms. Gaetani.
You'd agree with me that does happen in trials, not with some frequency, but it's not unheard of for that to happen.
No, it's not unheard of at all. I mean, there are times, again, where you have a prosecutor who takes a statement of a defendant.
Sure.
They have to be a witness, these kinds of things can happen all the time.
We find ways around them.
But we're also, to be clear, we're dealing with a very rare situation where the witness is a former prosecution witness accusing the prosecutor who she testified for previously of misconduct. Now, if the prosecution and the court approves of that process, wants to have that laid bare, then I suppose it could. But the other problem,
just on this issue, we're not going to hijack the rest of the argument.
Okay,
just on the issue of replacement.
I had a brief response.
Yeah, he's not done. You only get to respond when he's done.
Yes.
Mr. Cosgrove.
Well, just on that point, I have yet to hear how any comment that I might make on the credibility of Ms. Gaetani's testimony in the case before the court would even come in or be relevant in the Middlesex case or assist me in any way. Am I going to go over to Middlesex Superior Court and, you know, frankly, I find it hard to believe that I or whoever would be representing me would be brazen enough to say to the judge, well, I want to talk about all the ways in which my client, Mr. Cosgrove, impeached Ms. Gaetani in a case that has nothing whatsoever to do with the case before the court. There's just not going to be any bleed through whatsoever, it seems to me. We don't even have, you know, frankly, Ms. Gaetani's now at the point, based on her public statements, where she has faced in so many different directions, that I find it a little difficult to believe that either the Commonwealth or the defense is going to call her in this case. Mr. Counsel has carefully said we may call her for the defense. This may be a contingency that doesn't even arise, but that's sort of a side point. Let me just take a couple of points. I was going to ask Your Honor to take judicial notice of the pleadings in the Middlesex case and the docket. It appears you've effectively done that, but let me make an oral motion on the record.
Any objection, Counsel?
No. Purpose.
Okay. Agreement. I'll take those as judicial notice as to the Worcester Superior Court case.
And one of the interesting, unique things about this alleged conflict of interest, which is a little different from the typical conflict of interest case, at least I haven't found anything precisely on point, and I don't think the defense has either, but maybe they'll prove me wrong in a moment, is the whole operation by which this alleged conflict has come about and the Middlesex case has come about. What is it that enables Ms. Gaetani to make the claim that she's seeking to make against me in the Middlesex case? It's that defendant took the report I gave him as discovery, or I gave his counsel as discovery in the other case, publicized it, and then created a harm that Ms. Gaetani alleges accrued to her from that publication. In other words, if we're applying but-for causation, to sound like a tort lawyer for a minute, if we take Mr. Kearney's actions out of the whole proceeding, there's no harm whatsoever to Ms. Gaetani with my, as I see it, fulfilling my Rule 14 obligation. So Your Honor has the unusual situation here of a defendant who has been but-for cause of the alleged conflict, seeking to profit from that conflict by removing the prosecutor of his case, which I think is worth some consideration by the court. What I would like to do now, Your Honor, since the defendant has had the opportunity for a reply brief, which frankly doesn't particularly go to these motions, particularly, but more to the point, the defendant's reply in support of the motion to disqualify Robert Cosgrove. I'd like to examine that in some detail and take the opportunity to reply to some of his.
Well, it really hasn't become an issue here. That involves another party whose case has been dismissed. the case regarding the defendant and that witness is gone. That's dismissed. So I don't really know if that's all that relevant to any. Mr. Beddoe didn't even raise it.
For purposes of this, Your Honor, the briefs are what they are. We submitted them. I just raised the issues I thought would be helpful for the court today.
Yeah, I didn't find that anything with regard to that particular trooper terribly compelling because I don't understand how he would be part of this case. Fair to say?
You're talking about which trooper?
The trooper whose case was dismissed, Bouchard.
I'm not talking about I'm sorry for interrupting, Your Honor. I'm not talking about the motion that they filed with respect to discovery for Mr. Proctor.
Oh, I'm not dealing with discovery right now. Yeah.
I'm talking about the motion that's captioned, "Sir, reply in support of motion to disqualify Robert Cox."
Paper 127 you're talking about.
I don't know the number, to be honest with you, but
This one here?
yes,
Yep,
exactly.
that's 127.
Okay.
Okay, go on, I'll hear you.
All right. So, the defense begins by complaining that my response envisions my conflict in a vacuum, and that it ignores the whole context, which is basically a preface, Your Honor, for talking about everything else that the defense is unhappy with about the case, except issues that are relevant to whether or not I should be disqualified. There is, on page 1 of that motion, a suggestion that Mr. Morrissey recused his office from prosecuting Mr. Kearney due to a conflict created by an investigating journalist who publicly accused the DA's office. I'm not sure that Mr. Morrissey has made a statement explaining why he appointed a special prosecutor, but I'm ready to stand to be corrected, but certainly this is the explanation that might sound most favorable to the defendant. But what does it have to do with disqualifying me? He then talks about accusations against Lieutenant Tully and former Trooper Proctor and Sergeant Uri Buchanan. What does that have to do with disqualifying me? He talks about actions by Sergeant Buchanan taken after he left the Norfolk District Attorney's office in support of a legal civil dispute between Ms. Reed and the alleged victims. In this case, that has nothing to do with whether I should be disqualified. We've talked about my voluntary withdrawal from the indictments concerning Ms. Gattani. And if Your Honor would take a look at page 6, where we have bullet points. All right? The first bullet point is absolutely relevant, and that's what we've talked about, that I'm being sued for intentional misconduct by Ms. Gattani. Then we hear that Lieutenant Tully is being sued by Ms. Gattani. So what? The Detective Tully has been sued by Karen Reed. What's that got to do with the price of beans, as they say? That there were disciplinary proceedings against Lieutenant Tully.
That might be relevant on cross, you'd agree?
Oh, yeah, it might have some relevance on cross, but what has it to do with disqualifying me, Your Honor? They weren't disciplinary proceedings
Fair point.
against me. We hear that Ms. Reed is suing Sergeant Buchanan. Well, good luck to Ms. Reed, but what has it to do to disqualifying me in this case? We hear that Buchanan was disciplined. That Proctor has been sued by Ms. Reed. That Proctor has had disparaging text about Ms. Reed. There are two things that the upcoming case should not be about, Your Honor, and I'm sorry I'm losing my voice here, excuse me. One, it should not be a trial of the case that has been null pros concerning Ms. Gattani. And two, it should not be a retrial of the Karen Reed case. None of this stuff is relevant. Gattani's testimony will undermine the credibility of Detective Lieutenant Tully and Ms. McCabe, which will subject her to cross-examination by Mr. Cosgrove. Now, let's look specifically, if I can skip ahead in the memorandum. The argument that's been made a little later on in the memorandum, in which Your Honor has heard again today. And I'm looking now at page 16, Your Honor, the first full paragraph. Ms. Gattani will testify that Detective Lieutenant Tully intentionally mishandled her cell phone by tampering with and/or deleting its contents. Detective Lieutenant Tully will deny this. Mr. Cosgrove has accepted Detective Lieutenant Tully's explanation without any further investigation. Well, I don't know how the defense knows that I've accepted Detective Lieutenant Tully's explanation without any further investigation. But let's put this on a timeline. It has been the contention of the defense from the start of the case that certain items were missing from the download of Ms. Gattani's cell phone. And their explanation is that must be because Detective Lieutenant Tully deleted it. I responded to that. Ms. Gattani is a latecomer to this discussion. She is only now, in the form of either public statements or representations by the defense as to her new position, suggested that this is because Detective Lieutenant Tully tampered with it or deleted its contents. By the way, I don't know how she would know that because she was not there during the download of her cell phone and the transfer of it. But at any rate, my response as to what happened to the cell phone occurred before Ms. Gattani made any of these statements whatsoever. I don't know how it can be that I have been siding with Detective Lieutenant Tully over Ms. Gattani. I haven't seen an affidavit from Ms. Gattani. I haven't seen anything from Ms. Gattani other than hearsay, which is just a representation. And certainly, but let's assume that I do, as they put it, side with Detective Lieutenant Tully in cross-examining Ms. Gattani and in the closing argument. What does that have to do with defending my position in the Middlesex case, and how is it relevant, and how would it even be introduced? I have no idea. Let me back up and make a couple of other points. I want to turn to the legal argument say a little bit about the law. And I suspect Your Honor has probably already looked at the two cases cited by Mr. Betterow, Commonwealth versus Dunlap, and the other case is named US v. Health, which involves a complicated civil action involving the Church of Scientology and others. The first thing to say about these cases is they're Pennsylvania cases, not Massachusetts cases. So at best, I would say they are persuasive authority, not binding authority.
I don't think Ms. Betterow contests otherwise.
No, contends
otherwise.
The second thing I would say is that they are both opinions in which the court declined to rule for the defense on the conflict of interest argument. In the first case, Dunlap, the decision of the Superior Court judge was affirmed by an equally divided court. The dissenting justices characterized the other side as the majority, but the opinion itself says that the appellate court was equally divided. So I'm not sure if it's even good as dicta. It seems to me it has no precedential value at all, but if it does have precedential value, it was a ruling in favor of the Commonwealth. And what were the facts? In a sentence from the dissent, that is, those who believe there was a conflict of interest, the district attorney who prosecuted this case also represented the victim in a civil suit arising out of the same transaction. That is a mile away. That is a stadium away. That is a continent away from the facts in this case. I am certainly not representing Ms. Kearney in a civil suit arising out of the events that bring the defendant into court. Now let's take a look at US v. Health, or Health, I guess it is, which is the federal case. That does have some interesting parallels to this case. According to the decision, and I apologize for not having the pin sites, but I think Your Honor will readily find them. The defendants contended on appeal that they were denied due process because two prosecutors were defendants in a civil action filed by the Church of Scientology 10 days after the events that went down in this particular case. And they alleged, and the events that went down were a search of the Scientology's office in Los Angeles, and they alleged that the raids were conducted in bad faith with the intention of violating Scientology's constitutional rights. We can look back at the memos filed by the defense, and the contention they're trying to make, well, one of them is that this is a bad faith prosecution. So that applies here. What is different here is the civil suit apparently precedes the raid that the prosecutors make in the defense office in the Church of Scientology. Here, there's nothing like that. The events that the defendant was charged with in this case occur before any involvement by Ms. Kearney, before any involvement, by that matter, with me. And those issues are pretty well set and have consistently been followed through. Now, here's another similarity between Height and the current case. I'll just read a sentence or two. The government contends that prosecutors cannot be disqualified when sued by a defendant because defendants could then remove whichever prosecutor they please simply by suing him. Now, of course, the defendant isn't actually suing me here He's simply seeking to profit from a witness suing me. But certainly a suit by the defendant would be a much more direct potential conflict. I have not gone so far as to represent to the court that I cannot be disqualified when sued by a defendant or by Ms. Gattani. I think in fairness, the court can look at it. But the federal court, the argument was that any suit complaining of an action taken in in the prosecutor's quasi-judicial capacity would be frivolous and non-disqualifying because he enjoys absolute immunity as a prosecutor. Cite to a U.S. Supreme Court case. I believe as Your Honor reads through, we'll find that the court in Height pretty much bought that argument. And they go on to say that appellants have made no credible claim of actual prejudice based on the prosecutor's alleged pecuniary or personal interest in the outcome of this prosecution. I certainly have no pecuniary interest in the outcome of this prosecution. I have no personal interest in the outcome of this prosecution. And nothing in this prosecution is going to affect anything that's going on in Middlesex.
It's not Middlesex.
Worcester Superior Court, Your Honor.
Understood. Any further? From Mr. Cosgrove.
Sorry.
No, I'll stop at that point, Your Honor.
Mr. Betterow.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. We might as well start from the back with U.S. v. Health, Your Honor, which is 668 Federal 2nd, 1238, the D.C. Circuit, 1981. Mr. Cosgrove has buried the lead about Health and about Dunlop. Those were appellate arguments post-conviction. Now, that is a huge distinction about a timely motion in advance, raising issues which could lead to a conflict. We all know that raising a conflict on appeal when you could have raised it before is looked at in an entirely different way. And the relevant language from Health that I would direct the court to is on page 1276, which states, given the need to promote the appearance of justice, a trial court on timely motion to wit, like here, should disqualify a prosecutor from participating in a criminal action when he has a personal conflicting interest in a civil case. That's here.
Well, the key words there are alleging bad faith. I'm not sure that there's an allegation in those other complaints of bad faith. There's an allegation he violated the statute. I'm not sure where it talks about bad faith.
Sued him for intentional infliction of emotional distress,
Negligent infliction. There's a difference.
She sued for intentional.
I read negligent, but I'll go on.
Respectfully, Your Honor, there are deliberate allegations of intentional misconduct in the complaint, but that's, the court can obviously go back and one of us.
We took judicial notice.
Exactly. One of us is right.
I read this morning as negligent, but that's, I could.
Dunlop is the same situation, Your Honor. It's post-conviction. The other issue, and I want to go back to the beginning that Mr. Cosgrove started with, he illustrates the whole problem here. He's defending himself, and I have no opinion on the merits of Ms. Gaetani's claim, okay? As a lawyer, I sympathize. But he started by telling you that this case is going to get dismissed, and all I did was turn over this. He is illustrating front and center his personal interest that Gaetani is accusing him of things he didn't do. And the conflict, the personal interest, isn't the outcome.
She's not accusing him of things he didn't do. He acknowledges doing.
But he's justifying it and saying she's trying to do this, she's not credible. The point is this. The personal interest for Mr. Cosgrove is not whether he was wrongfully sued or whether it has any merit. His good name has been attacked. And like anyone else, he has an absolute right and a personal interest in defending himself. And again, the proper forum to do that is not while prosecuting a case in which his accuser is a witness, his co-defendant is a witness, and Ms. Gaetani is going to probably impeach, assuming she's allowed to, their star witness, Ms. McCabe. When someone's integrity is attacked, they have a personal interest, especially someone as credentialed and respected as Mr. Cosgrove. We all understand that as lawyers and judges, but that doesn't mean you get to prosecute the case. That's for you to decide, obviously. And we're talking about an appearance. This looks terrible, which leads to my next point. Mr. Cosgrove went through all of these allegations in our papers about, Proctor had this, Tully's been sanctioned, Buchanan, it's literally aligned with Jennifer McCabe, which we wrote about, supporting her. Buchanan was a witness in this case too, and part of the investigation.
But not anymore.
No, but the point is this. He is looking at this in a vacuum. The public must have confidence. Part of the analysis of a conflict of interest is the first sentence of the brief that he just cited from, is that the public must have confidence in the criminal justice system. And this latest conflict is a pile on conflict after conflict after conflict in this case. And if the cherry on the sundae...
But let me slow you down, because we're conflating two different issues. I'll agree with you. There's all sorts of issues that have developed over the course of these interrelated prosecutions. Mr. Cosgrove's role, though, is a latecomer and really had nothing to do with any of these other issues. So I can't sit and say I impute all of those other things to Mr. Cosgrove. And therefore, if we look at that mass of problems that have developed, he's out. Because the same logic would say the next person who sits in that seat, the same argument would apply.
Let me be very clear. I'm not accusing...
I didn't take it that you were.
Fair enough.
But my point is, all of those things are conditions which are already present in this prosecution.
They are.
So really the only thing that I'm dealing with is this one issue, because the rest of those things he had nothing to do with.
But one of them, he had this other conflict which he voluntarily sought.
But that came out of the same exact issue.
Yes. Well, that's our point. We think it's the same conflict.
I agree with you. But what I'm trying to, the point I'm trying to draw and the distinction is, all of these other problems that arose out of the Reed prosecution, real, imagined, substantial, that's really not for me to decide, right? They're all out there, all right? And they're all going to be there no matter what. So whoever sits in that chair right there is going to have all of those problems.
Difference, I don't mean to cut you off, Your Honor. The difference is that if it's not Mr. Cosgrove, the man or woman who would be sitting in that chair is not being sued by Ms. Gaetani and co-defendants with DL Tully.
That's my point. That's the only thing I have to analyze. Okay. That point.
Our point, respectfully, was that given the public's need for confidence in this case, not the Karen Reed case, that's a whole nother conversation for someone else on another day. But this case is filled with conflicts, and I don't think we can all just avert our eyes to and say, but none of that matters, but we're going to have a prosecutor now cross-examine his accuser and then say she's not credible. He also indicated, Your Honor, they're not even committing calling Ms. Gaetani. I can't fathom how that might happen. They use careful language. They may call her. We're the defense. We don't have to do anything. We can take a nap throughout this trial.
Understood.
And there may be such a terrible joke of a case they present that we stand up and rest. So, of course, why would any credible, serious lawyer commit a year in advance, I'm calling this witness? We're alerting Mr. Cosgrove to what we think is his conflict and the court, and we may very well do that. The last point for this, he said there's no affidavit from Ms. Gaetani, or it's all just hearsay about, tampering with her phone. The best basis for that will be the posting online social media by a third party and long-time known critic of Mr. Kearney of messages which did not appear on an extraction report that we got from Tully of Gaetani's phone, and then we never got anything from Tully's phone. We got screenshots of what he claimed were messages. that's the basis for that. Thank you.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so here's what we'll do. We're going to set another date. Let me talk about this. Mr. Braden, when we we penciled in the trial date, I gave you a very long date, longer than I wanted. Your schedule, has it changed? Can we get this thing done earlier? Assuming it's alive?
Judge, it's probably gotten worse.
All right, well, we're not moving the case back. That trial date's not going to go backwards.
Okay.
This is a 2023 case, it's 2026. It's not going backwards. If anything, it's going to move forward. So don't.
I know you'll relate to this, Judge. I have the usual
I
slate
know.
of like fall murder cases.
I get it, but this one's an old one, and it's set. So I was gonna try to move you forward, but if you tell me that can't happen, then that can't happen.
I'm sorry.
All right, but understood. This court is willing to take this case much faster than the current schedule.
Get that, Your Honor. We do have a few other pretrial matters to address. Your Honor mentioned the motion to dismiss. Maybe we should schedule that.
What we're gonna do is this. I'm gonna take this under advisement. We're gonna pick a date right now. And either we do a motion to dismiss that day, or we're on for appearance of new counsel that day. All right, one or the other. We're gonna know. I'll get you a decision beforehand. Now, I am open to the idea that if I accept there's a conflict here, I haven't made that determination yet, but if I accept there's a conflict, I'm open to the idea that it's resolvable by having someone else step in and cross-examine her. I think that solves all of the issues. So that might be the easy way here, so everybody can get this thing moving and have this trial, which all parties seem to desire.
So just on that point, I appreciate you kind of reflecting your thought process. But, you know, even if counsel stays on the case but doesn't actually do the questioning, it still remains that there's a conflicted counsel on the case, and the
Mr.
jury
Bradley,
ought to know
you and I both know
of that
that
interest.
Mr. Bradley, you and I both know this happens with some frequency, and we work our way around it. All right? The jury's concentration in this case is on the events of the case. Now, Ms. McCabe's credibility, I expect to be a robust cross-examination based on all the information that you've gathered. And if it's appropriate to bring in an extrinsic witness, and generally, as you're well aware, it's not. If it's appropriate to have an extrinsic witness on that issue, then we'll take that as we go. But Mr. Cosgrove raises a reasonably good point that, you know, there's been some recent case law talking about, you know, the police can't create their own exigency. And to some extent, the defendant has created his own exigency here. Because, in fact, the plaintiff in that case, is suing because the contents of her phone were put on the internet. The defendant did that. So there is some, you know, you got to be fair to both sides here and say this is something which only happened because of steps taken by the defendant.
Jason.
Well, Judge, I don't want our lack of response to that to be perceived as a acknowledgement. I don't want to address that.
I'm basing that simply. I'm basing that simply on what I read in her complaint, not on anything that's been represented to me today.
Right, exactly. And so, just a couple rewinds here, judges, that the government themselves, in Lieutenant Tully's own affidavit at the time of this, back in December of 23, swore in the affidavit that Ms. Catani was a witness in the matter. And so I don't think the government can do a 180 and say, oh, she's not really a witness.
Oh, she's a witness, but she was a witness at that point. They were trying to indict your client for some sort of conspiracy charge, which failed.
Right.
All right, and
apparently
the grand jury didn't
live and under investigation.
Well, that's another matter. I've told you I have no authority to affect that. What I do know is that was no build.
No build.
Even worse. Okay, that was no build. So I can't imagine a circumstance where I would allow evidence in about a no build issue. I remain to be persuaded on that. But,
so what? And just to go to the lowest hanging fruit on why Ms. Catani would be a witness, there's all sorts of screenshots and text messages, and we need these things authenticated before we use them.
I'm not necessarily saying that can't happen.
There's all sorts of reasons.
I get that, but
no one's trying to trigger a recusal. There's a lot of good reasons why she's involved in this. The government's own affidavit.
I'm not discrediting what you're saying. What I'm saying to you is, I think there's a way around this. And I don't know that a closing argument is going to change that, because the closing argument is based on what's heard at the trial, and I'd add, in this court's view, and in the proper practice, would be confined strictly to the evidence that's presented before the court. So, no, it's not going to.
I appreciate your reflections, Judge. If I could just have one moment.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. All right, that's all we have. And just,
All right, let's pick a date.
are you, late February, March, okay? Early March? What would you like, Your Honor?
Let's go later in March.
All right, March 27th?
Is that a Friday? Fridays are generally best.
I can do that. It is a Friday.
Do it on a Friday.
Thank you.
I don't know if we'll be in this room. I'll have to consult with the occupant, who has generously lent me this room today.
I want to say one other thing, if I could,
Sure.
Your Honor. I am concerned that some protective orders that have been issued by the court have been the subject of violations. I'm not prepared to address it today, but I want to put the defense and the court on notice that I do think there's a basis for that argument, and I will plan on raising it at the next hearing.
Well, raise it first with the other side, so that they're aware of your concerns.
I will, of course.
All right. If it's not resolvable, then the court will step in. Nobody benefits by undermining the protective orders. Look, again, the way this court looks at this is that this is an important First Amendment issue, which should be decided by a jury of the defendant's peers to decide the mores of our society, whether or not this is journalistic activity or it's not journalistic activity. Let's try to focus on that, folks.
I absolutely agree with that, Your Honor.
Okay? All right. Anything else we can do today?
No, sir.
March 27th, the purpose of that hearing to be determined, but it's going to be one of those two things.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay?
you very much, Your Honor.
All right.
Your Honor.
All right, both matters continued to March 27th, time and session.
Court, all right, please. Get into the courtroom at this time, please. Thank you.
Free Turtle Boy, free Turtle Boy, free Turtle Boy.
So that was for once a long hearing, for once a hearing where people were talking about the case, not just the notes I took was the judge didn't believe that LG was relevant, that her lawsuit was relevant, because it was actions happening after the alleged incidents that Aidan is being charged with, which to me seems kind of weird, because she has evidence that proves that Jen McCabe wasn't scared, that the McAlberts wasn't scared, but they were misusing their connections to get Aidan charged. That to me, that made no sense. Then he talked about how she's a unique witness because she has changed her alliance. Yeah, and that's true, because she was paramount to the defense's to the state's case to get Aidan put in prison, and that to me, I don't get that argument that, oh, she has no bearing on this fucking case. Of course she does. And Tully the lead investigator, the man who sent her to Aidan or made her get Aidan out there, the man who talked to Aidan or talked to her about Aidan on the night of the dropped lawsuit, nah, we're probably not going to call him. Why would we call the lead investigator? No need for that. And Cossie believes that he doesn't need Tully because Aidan can self-authenticate all of the videos that they are going to put in. I'm pretty sure that's not how it works. I'm pretty effing sure that's not how it's going to work. That Aidan is going to authenticate the clips that Krusty sent to Tully with a new format. So he wants Aidan to go up there and say, well, yeah, I authenticate. Yeah, I called this getting colon in trouble. I called this, I'm going to harass Jen McCabe. I called this harassing everyone. That's what I called it. Because remember, they changed the title of Aidan's streams. If you look at Aidan's streams, they are always named kind of the same with no subtext to them. So how are they going to... That's not how it works. And Aidan can just say, no, I'm not going to testify to that. So you have no chain of custody. You can't bring them in. You have no way of proving that these clips are real. I cannot authenticate it. Well, you're on the screen. I plead the fifth. Who took the screenshots or who took the screen recordings? Who put it in there? Who is the people who have done it? That's the thing that is so effed up in all of this. Aidan can just authenticate the evidence against him. That's not how it works. Then the judge said, well, Cosgrove is immune as a prosecutor, so LG's lawsuit against him really have no bearing, and they can just get in a replacement. Who? They asked 6 different prosecutors before Mello said yes. And then Mello said, fuck this, I'm out. And then Cosgrove came on. Who are they going to drag out from under whatever patio these horrible former judges live under and is going to join in on this lawsuit at this late hour? That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. And again, why wouldn't it be prejudiced? Hey, ask her if she's a slut who slept with Aidan. Hey, ask her if she has made videos claiming Aidan raped her. She's still sitting right next to the prosecutor who's going to ask the questions. Oh my God. An interesting thing, he did say that the motion to dismiss was a strong motion to dismiss, but it lacked some... If it was music, we would say it lacked some bass. It had a strong motion, but he still needed something, and he wanted to know why the defense claimed that Jen McCabe was a not believable witness. Go watch her lie on the stand in the first 2 Karen Reed trials. So I liked what he said about the motion to dismiss. I hope they'll go home and rewrite and kind of pad it. And then we went into Father Time. Father Time slowed everything down because but why are you not conflicted out on this case? Because I thought about it and I determined I'm not conflicted out. That's what I say every time I think, should I steal stuff at the store? I think, is that illegal? Well, technically it is, but I thought about it and I really, really want to have those sushi cues. So I'm just going to steal them because I thought about it and I need the sushi cues more than the store does. So it's not illegal because that's how the law works and that's how being conflicted works. And then he was asked, how do you stop her from mentioning, I'm suing your fucking ass? Well, just put a gag order on her, judge. You can do that, but you could also just recuse yourself because that would be way easier. And you could just put another prosecutor on this one. Then he says Lindsay has nothing to do with this, other than Lindsay has been in contact with all of these people. Tully, Jen McCabe, Krusty Panties, all of these people. Other than that, she has nothing to do with it. And then I just put down, what the fuck is Cosgrove on about? Is he lost again? He went on a ramble about some other cases that made case law not in Massachusetts but in Pennsylvania, and I didn't get what the hell he was talking about until Betterow went up and said, well, he misread what it was about. And then he claimed that Lindsay was a latecomer to the trial. You used her to get Aidan indicted in front of a grand jury. You can claim that, well, we resolved that by dropping that lawsuit. But you used her on the basis of the previous lawsuits, the 23 lawsuits, to honeypot him so you could get him in front of a grand jury and thrown to prison again. I don't. Maybe technically they're correct, but talking to a jury and putting that in front of the jury, I don't think a jury will see it the same way. Boop. Oh, and then, yeah, the Pennsylvania case was to do with people who had been prosecutors against someone, then turned it around and defended them. That's the same as being sued by them. No, it's not. It's absolutely the opposite. Because if you defend them, then you have a very big interest in making them look as believable as possible. If you're getting sued by them, you have every intention to make them look as bad as possible. That's the thing. What he's smoking, I want to try. And then they brought up she claims that there was missing data on her phone, but there's no proof that Tully deleted it. And that's an interesting thing, what Betterow said. He said, well, we have screenshots showing conversations from another party that these messages has been deleted. We all know who those screenshots came from because those are Krusty Panties, I believe. Then we kicked it again. Just get a new counsel. Not a problem. Just get someone new. It's been going on for 2 years now. We're not going to get anyone new, but just go out there, find a local drug addict who can work for $5 an hour, and just ask Lindsay Kearney if she's a hoe. And the judge said, hey, just slam Jen McCabe on the stand. Give her a vigorous cross-examination. That's the solution to Jen McCabe being a fucking liar. And then the Cosgrove claimed that Aidan put Lindsay's phone extractions online. That's verifiable a lie. That was Jason. He was the one who put it online. Aidan had nothing to do with putting the phone extractions online. I know this because Jason gave me the link to his Google account where I went in and I downloaded the phone extractions from. Aidan didn't release that. So Cossey just misrepresented facts in front of the judge. Nothing's going to happen. Oh, we're 1776 people in here. Remember to hit the like in honor of your great country. See, that's how you grift. But that was verifiable, not Aidan who did that. And Cosgrove will be apparently filing something because protection orders have been violated in this case. We all know who has been sharing more than anyone in an attempt to get Aidan sent to prison. We all know who that person or those people are. So I should have said this when we had 3,000 people watching here. Except that Rip Turtle Boy idiot who was in here before. Everyone has to figure out this is the legal battle in Massachusetts right now. This is the fight against the Commonwealth. This is Wildcat says, I'm sorry, I don't think Bradel fights as hard as he should. I haven't been impressed. I think he has a very laid-back style. He's kind of like Yannetti. He's more laid-back. I think maybe that's a Massachusetts thing, and that's why the judge didn't seem to like Betterow that much. Well, not nothing. Love Turtle Boy. If Jathan could not have done it if Turtle Boy hadn't shared it with him, even if Turtle Boy expected him to keep it in confidence. That you can make that argument, but it is a lie that Aidan posted it online. There's a difference. Aidan might have shared some of the material with someone, but Aidan didn't share it online. Again, it's a false statement made in front of the judge. Thank you, M-Spire. I'll look at it later. Is Cossey related to Cossey G in chat? No, Cossey G is just a great guy. But as I was saying, I know there's a lot of people out there who has been grifting hard on trying to make Aidan the bad man. Oh, he made a recording. Yeah, and all of you shared it. All of you people were really happy to share it. He never ever shared a second of that. Aidan is fighting against this system. You just saw this system that Aidan is up against. So anyone who claimed that they were pro Karen Reed because she was fighting a corrupt system have to figure out this is exactly the same fight. There's no difference in what Aidan is fighting right now and what Karen Reed was fighting. It's a corrupt state. It's a corrupt prosecution's office. And sadly, too many people are willing to just close their eyes because, hey, fuck Turtle Boy. It's, like the judge said, a very important First Amendment case. Are you allowed to be an online civic citizen journalist in the state of Massachusetts, or are you not? This is where we stand. I made this pitch that someone on Valentine's Day should make a fundraiser for Aidan because he just wasted another $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 again today. Well, he's buying a house. Yeah, you're putting a down payment and then you're owing the rest to the bank. We all know how you buy a house. Oh, he could just use all that money. He still have to pay rent. All these fuckers who is more than happy to send Aidan to prison just because he's digging down someone else or they want to be good friends with the one he did stop digging down. They have to take a good look in the mirror and say, are we the baddies? Because right now, you are the baddies. You don't care about the civil rights of a journalist. Sorry, I had to blow my nose. Sorry. But I'm still contending that Valentine's Day could be a great day for someone to set up a fundraiser. I'm not going to do it. I just have this small little channel. I wish someone who had a big channel would go out there. I would love to participate or do anything, but again, do a 3-hour special where you have boots on the ground, you have lawyers, you have other creators, and try and raise some money, because this guy is being anally inserted without lubrication by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and sadly by the ATBs. The ATBs are causing him a lot of mental stress, a lot of mental pain, and we have all seen it when he's doing his streams. He is some days he's really, really troubled with all he's going through, and who wouldn't be? Who wouldn't be? Sorry, sneezing. Oh. Whew. Let me do the super chats, because you have all been more than generous, and thank you to all the new people who came in here today. Emsfire was going to tell a joke that I did that one. Holly Mac for toughing it out for us on a day you aren't feeling well. You appreciate it, sir. Jedi Jen became a member. Live Laugh Lawsuit became a member. Morning Baker and crew from Brass. MSV USMC Hooyah sent 5 gifted memberships. Linda, thanks, Baker. Melanie sent you. Thank you, Melanie, for sending people over. Factual Lie was a member for 5 months. Hit the like buttons, folks. Laurel, thank you for covering this. Looks like the judge sucked. I didn't like him to begin with. Chuckle sent me a jumping pear saying thank you. Shannon became a muffin top. Thank you, Baker, for showing what transparency looks like. Ute. Thank you, Miss USMC. Brenda Bombard. Remember, this judge is lifelong Canton residents. Kelly, thank you, Baker. KDP, member for 23 months. Hope you're feeling better. Not really. Saint Amber, thank you, Baker. Feel better soon, my baguette. I will try. Derpy Derp, thanks for covering this live. Hope you can get back to bed after. I will go. Slot Live, thank you, Baker, for bringing this to us, especially when you're not feeling well. We appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. X-Ray Techie, thank you, Baker. South Boston Kev, well, if you let the man finish, Your Honor. Yeah, he was very interrupting. This is kind of like Bev. The state got to say whatever the fuck they want, and the defense couldn't speak. Dieni. I just realized I got unsubscribed. I watch Baker all the time. Feel better. The Broken Nurse. Well, thank you so much, and thank you for checking that you were unsubscribed. It happens. Always go around now and again and look in the channels and see if you have been unsubscribed. Jaded for Justice. Thanks, Broken Baker, for covering this extremely important case for us all. Great job. Thank you so much. Mary Jo, I'm a muffin top and a cupcake. Thank you, Baker. Thank you. Janice, 2 months. Is the word in dumb. Time for a nap. And Arkansas Bestie. Arkansas Bestie. $50. Oh my God. Thank you for covering this. Feel better. And Melissa P became a member. Technically perjury. Better road gets cut off, but Costco can drone on. Really see you. Thank you, Baker. Hope you're doing well. I'm not. Warwick, thank you. Daniel, $20, not saying anything. Thank you so much. Peace Geek. So basically, trust me, bro, is Costco's argument. Yes. Lola, the good dog. Cossie, who would replace you? Cat got your tongue? Exactly. None your business. Just because we love you, Baker, and free Turtle Boy. Thank you, Nanya. Nana and the three somethings. The three. No, just says Nana and the three. Says Baker is the best. I'm decent on a good day. Motions in CPA. Thank you for all you do, Baker. You're a real MVP. Thank you so much. And missed debates. $5 and a little. Good job. Side eyes, Jess. Sorry, this is probably making you feel worse, but we love you. I love you too, Side eyes. Don't tell your husband. And Danny said, as a loyal Kareem Pie, I'm salty. I'm not in your harem that's getting all those unsolicited DMs everyone's talking about. Love you, Baker. If you want the unsolicited D-pics, remember to contact Marissa so she can send them to you. Janet Clayton, thank you for $20 and nothing in it. K squared. Oh, it's been a hot minute. Doing a great job as always. Thank you so much. Thank you, K squared. Stinky cat. Smelly cat. Smelly cat. You're my new favorite, and your chat is hilarious. Thank you so much for joining the chat. Lynn Dalton, I can hear Broken Baker's telepathy yelling out through the screen. This idiot. Holly Max, thank you, Cupcakes, for coming over and supporting Baker with likes, subs, and donations. He's our hero for doing this when he's sick. And Sandy D. Cupcakes and muffin tops unite. Thank you, Baker. Feel better. Iris, tequila and lime and lots of Vicks. Trust the process. You can't buy Vicks in Denmark, and I don't drink tequila, and I don't like citrus fruit. Football Dude Boy, gifted 10 membership. Thank you so much. Love me. Thank you, Baker. Thank you. Derpy Derp. If this goes to trial, there's 98% Cossy G doesn't live to see the end of it. Not sure he will make it to the end of this current discussion. Yeah, he was slow. M-Spire, when can I stop banging my head on the table? Now. Love me. Send another 7 Canadian. No message. Karen, how does he even argue this without a reply? And M-Spire sent me a Gmail. I'm going to check it after the screen. Karen Witcher, Mark and Aidan are on Justice Served at 6 p.m. Spread the word. Everyone, 6 p.m. on Justice Served, you have to go and watch Aidan and Mark. And Queen of Hearts became a muffin top. Tiffany became a muffin top. And KDP, get some rest, Baker. Thanks for this. Currently sick as well. Yeah, this is really it sticks around. I don't know why the hell it's not leaving, but it's been really kicking my ass. But I'll go back and sit under my hot blanket and watch some television. I'm going to chuck you all back over to Melanie so you can go and show her some muffin tops, some muffin tops to all of her cupcakes. Because I need to go and blow my nose for real. Thank you all so much for stopping by, and thank you for all the gifts, Marissa and Hellfish. I don't know when I'm going to stream again but love you all. See you all later, and have a great weekend.
I'm Jimmy. How y'all doing?
I know English is your second language, but you don't word
It's
your
my
questions
third,
carefully.
but I'm still better at it than you. You are
The most important people in this case that everybody seems to have forgotten in this room is the jury. So we're going to take a 15-minute break and both sides take a pregnant pause and think about the jury.